The heroin situation is so deadly. I mean, it kills, and it kills quickly.
Thank you so much for meeting with me. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to meet with me. I wanted to get at how we got here. In 2010, there was almost no heroin deaths in Lexington, and then it just kind of boomed. So I was wondering if you could speak about what you've seen of how we got here, kind of what has led to this epidemic.
Well, Kentucky's got a substantial drug abuse problem. We've been dealing with this for a long time. Since I became governor, we have really been trying to go after all of the different kinds of substance abuse. And we had some success against the meth situation. We went after synthetic drugs, and we've had some success there. And then the prescription drug abuse problem was getting really out of hand.
Yeah.
And so I was able to bring together the House and Senate over here, both Republicans and Democrats, because this isn't a partisan issue.
Right.
This affects us all as Kentuckians. And so I got them to work together, and we really came up with some good legislation that really attacks the prescription drug abuse problem. Unfortunately, though, you make some gains in one part of this substance abuse problem, and it pops up someplace else. And now it's moved to heroin.
Yeah.
And heroin is a tremendous problem in the state, and it kills quickly. You get the wrong stuff in you, or you get too much of it in you, and you're gone.
Yeah.
And there are several things we've got to do. Number one, for traffickers, we've got to increase some penalties. We got to make it hard on anybody who wants to come in and traffic heroin. But number two, we've got to make naloxone into the hands of first responders, law enforcement, folks that will come upon somebody who has just OD'd and can immediately inject them with this, get that into that person and save that life. And we need to make that kind of drug more available out there to save those lives. We need to pass a Good Samaritan type law, which will encourage people, if they're sitting around using heroin and somebody starts going out, it will encourage somebody sitting with him to call 911 by giving that person a pass on being a user. If he calls 911, I think we can save some lives in that way. We also need some protection for law enforcement and folks from inadvertent needle sticks. We need to have sort of a drug paraphernalia exemption. If a law enforcement official is coming in to make an arrest or to make a search, if that person says, I just want you to know I've got a needle on me here, and let me move that and remove that so that you don't inadvertently patting me down get stuck with that needle, then they wouldn't get charged with that particular possession of that drug paraphernalia. Obviously, treatment is something that we've got to really zero in on. I've worked with the Attorney General, Jack Conway. He just got a big settlement from some drug companies, and we're investing about $25 million into expanding adolescent treatment centers. Also, my wife Jane is working with a group, and we're establishing more Recovery Kentucky centers. It's like the Hope Center in Lexington. And we're going to have about 15 of those in all around the state here very shortly, and with hopefully more to come.
There's a lot of stereotypes of drug users, but can you speak a little bit about what you've seen as who is being affected?
Drug abuse doesn't know any boundaries, and it doesn't discriminate between the rich and the poor, and the educated, the uneducated, the old, the young, black, white. I think probably everyone either knows somebody who's been affected by drugs or has somebody in the family. It's personalized, this issue, I think, finally, and you realize that, these folks aren't just poor folks out here that don't want to work and, are just wanting to shoot up all the time. This affects the kid up the street who's 15 years old and gets with some people that he probably shouldn't be with, and he has one bad night and he's dead.
Right.
And this is happening all over Kentucky situation. So I really think that we're going to get a good bill. I think everybody realizes that there are these 2 or 3 issues that you might get all wrapped up in. But look, if we have to, let's just set aside those and let's get to the basics here. Let's address our main issues and problems. We've got to figure out more solutions and better treatment methods and modes so that we can save lives, get people back on their feet, back on track, so that they can be productive citizens.
Right. I can name about 8 kids who I grew up with who are already dead from heroin overdose, and I'm just an average citizen filming this on an iPod and just trying to do what I can. What is your message to people like me, everyday citizens? What can we do as average citizens?
Average citizens, and we're all average citizens when you get right down to it, they need to get involved and they need to pay attention. I know that there's a feeling probably out there among many, well, what can I do? You know, I'm just one person. Nobody knows me. I'm a nobody, you know, that kind of thing. There is strength in people voicing their concerns. Believe it or not, politicians do respond to voices. And people need to understand that. They need to get involved. They don't need to sit at home and just say, I can't do anything. Look what you did. You draw attention to dating violence and the shelters just by running from Lexington to Frankfurt. And you got people's attention. And people can do all kinds of things to make a difference in this world. And the only way I know you won't make a difference is if you don't do anything.
Absolutely.
So people have got to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Governor, thank you so much for your time. That wraps it up. Anything else you'd like to add? Or?
Well, I just want to thank you for what you're doing and the folks that are going to be watching this. Take this to heart. You can make a difference. Individuals can make a difference. Sometimes it's small differences, but those small differences add up to making a difference in this Commonwealth.